I would like to thank Alexandra and Alexei for organizing this event and for asking me to be a guest speaker tonight. My presentation tonight is just going to give you a brief idea, background about Iraq, also the Iraq-Belarus relations, past, current, and future. And I'm hoping it's not going to be very, very long, so I won't keep you all waiting for very long. Well, the presentation has two parts. Part one, I'll be talking about the current situation, which has the key, I'll be talking about key geographic economic facts about Iraq when the Iraqi embassy was reopened in Minsk. Also, I'll be talking about the Iraqi government priorities. The part two will be for the future, looking ahead. Will be key future factors, how we can strengthen relations between Iraq and Belarus. Also about how as an embassy we can help in that sphere. Also, I'll be talking about strengthening Iraq-Belarus relationship. First, I'll start with the key geographic information. Capital is Baghdad. We have 18 provinces of governance. Main cities in Iraq is Baghdad, Mosul, Erbil in the north, and Basra in the south. Iraq is bordered by 6 countries: Turkey, Syria, Jordan, Iran, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia. And to the right of the screen, just the total area roughly of Iraq is also the land and the water that's covered. The key economic information about Iraq, the main ones, it's the 2014 budgets, estimated at 150 billion US dollars. The total GDP, 131 billion. The average increase of GDP past 2011 information is 9.6%. The GDP nominal per capita, it's 4,476. We have the employment power is about 7.7 million Iraqis. Unemployment rate 15%, that's 2008. Inflation rate 3.1%. The main information is the oil production is 3.4 million barrels per day. That's the Iraq production of oil. The oil export 2.1 million barrels per day. The oil reserve is 143.1 billion barrels. The natural gas reserves 3.17 trillion cubic meter. We have foreign currency reserves about $60 billion. The main agricultural products in Iraq are the wheat, the barley, rice, vegetables, dates, and cotton. The main industries are oil and gas, petrochemicals, fabrics, leather products, building materials, food, fertilizers, and metal fabrication. For the past 10 years, the 95% of Iraq's revenue is oil. The Iraqi government is looking forward to develop other areas, to create other ways of revenues, like agriculture, industry, tourism, constructions. But at the moment, 95% of the budget comes from oil production. Next slide talks about the diplomatic relations between Iraq and Belarus and when they started. The Iraq-Belarus diplomatic relations established in 1992 through Iraq's embassy in Moscow. From 1992 until 2000, when both Belarus and Iraq opened full embassies in Baghdad and Minsk. But in 1997, Iraq's ambassador in Moscow submitted his credentials to President Lukashenko as ambassador of Iraq in Minsk, but living in Moscow. But unfortunately, both embassies closed in 2003 due to the war, 2003 war. Iraq embassy reopened in Minsk in March 2008 by my colleague, Mr. Tariq Azami. He opened the embassy. I arrived as first ambassador of Iraq to Belarus since 2003, since the opening of the embassy. I submitted my credentials to President Lukashenko in 14th of June 2010. my good friend, Mr. Fuad Mamand, was appointed Honorary Consul of Belarus in Erbil in December 2011. And His Excellency Ambassador Andrei Savanich was appointed Ambassador of Belarus to Turkey with concurrent accreditation to Iraq in September 2013. And by this appointment, I'm very optimistic that Iraq-Belarus diplomatic relations, Iraq-Belarus relations will advance more and more. This slide talks about the security updates in Iraq. The security situation in Iraq is improving day by day. The government is very confident. We are very confident about the continued progress in all parts of Iraq. Now, recently, we are experiencing some problems in the western country, in the Lambar province, with the Iraqi government, with the support of the international community, also with the support of Belarus. We're fighting Al-Qaeda, the terrorist groups, mainly the Islamic states in Iraq and Levant. And we are quite confident that the fighting will be finishing very soon, and we'll get rid of Al-Qaeda, so we'll have a stable part of that country once again. About the security updates in Iraq, roughly, we're just very optimistic that the number of terrorist attacks will be decreasing. As we are nearing to the general elections we're going to have in 30th of April 2014. We're very optimistic that after the elections we're going to have a stable parts of the country where now they are unstable. The security authority now it's completely under the Iraqi government after the coalition forces left Iraq end of 2011. So we are very hoping and optimistic that things will get much better with the government's push against Al-Qaeda and with the elections end of April, hoping that things will get much better.